It is Mojo Monday. Rick, Hale, how are you?
I am doing wonderfully well. Thank you, Brett. And it's funny how we're all mirrors. I watched you do this and I felt like I should do that. I don't know
Yeah,
what that is, but
I give you a little point. So I'm really
you're good.
excited, guys. We're going to talk about bucket list today, and we're going to define it up. But Rick, I've got a question for you. What does the phrase bucket list really mean? Does it mean you're going to kick the bucket someday?
If it does, I'm taking it off the list. Thanks for asking. To me, it's just the ultimate experience. It's something that you don't just do in the normal course of your day or week or month or even year. It's something you typically plan for. It's something out of the ordinary, and ultimately it's impactful to the people you love, and it's a memory, one that you carry with you to your last day.
Yeah. Does it have to be crazy? Like, I got to go climb Mount Everest. I got to skydive on my 75th birthday. I got like, what's worthy of you putting something on a bucket list?
I love that you ask, and it's your listen. Those listening, dig into your own experiential life and imagine what shows up on the highlight reel. It's got to show up on a highlight reel. If it doesn't, it's probably not qualified as a bucket list adventure, experience, or moment.
Yeah. Yeah. The we thought about talking about eulogies again, because but then I squashed you because I said, Rick, we don't want to talk to everybody about end of life at the end of the year. Let's talk about something fun and happy. And you said it's kind of the same thing. And I went, whatever, we're calling it the bucket list.
It's spin, dude. You're a marketing genius. I like
All
it.
right. So frame this up. Go ahead.
I mean, so the thought today is one, reflective energy. Like, I think there's positivity and it's inspiring to look over your shoulder and give yourself credit where credit's due. And so maybe take a moment and we'll share a couple of ideas. What were our favorite bucket list adventures or experiences? Just one quick brief one. And then at the same time, this is really about you. And so the goal is that you take a deep breath and pull yourself out of the day-to-day grind and really give yourself the credit you're due, because that's empowering, and it's also inspiring as you ponder what the next 12-month cycle looks like and how you can wake up regret-free December 31st next year.
Yeah. I kind of feel like it's telling you to live a big life. It's telling you to live a rich life. And I don't always mean wealth when I say that word. And it's a life worth living. You can throw all these phrases at it. But Rick, you're right. Like it is an end of the life perspective saying, what are some of the keystones? What are some of the big things that I'm going to look back and go, I'm really glad I did, not I wish I had. And
That's
so
huge.
maybe let's throw some examples. Like what's on yours?
So if you've got younger, well, I'll just reflect it. Let's start there.
Yeah.
And my favorite trip we ever had was a trip to Las Vegas with our teenage kids. We took all four boys, and what made it special was that we didn't go into, we passed through casinos on the way to experiences. And so also, I guess, reflective of it doesn't have to cost a lot. This was not an inexpensive trip. But the one thing that stuck out, so I'll give you the overview. We did
Yeah.
two different Cirque du Soleil shows. We went to Penn and Teller. We experienced, the sightseeing that you do in Vegas. We also went to the Hoover Dam, and we also went to the west rim of the Grand Canyon. We did all this inside of about 7 days, and it was magnificent. You know what stood out the most? Pinball Museum. There's the World Pinball Museum, and they only charge the cost of the machine the day it was created, not current inflated values to play these
Oh,
games.
wow.
I walked out $22 light after 3 hours with my boys, hammering all these old school pinball and arcade games. It was so freaking much fun. We went back the next day. And if of all the memories, that might be the highlight reel moment inside of a highlight reel.
Yeah.
So
And
what was yours, Brett?
yeah, listen, a good friend of mine and I made a commitment over a 4-year period to drive the United States with no predetermined destination. And
Dang.
he and I drove through 43 states together over we broke it into 4 different trips, and we still got to finish it. But it was probably some of the best stories I still tell at a dinner table. And it's nothing that's so grandiose, but it's the experiences we had along the way. Like we drove by the largest ball of twine. It's literally sitting on the side of the road. And I'm going, somebody could light this thing on fire, but that would the it's just weird little stuff that makes your life very rich. And I think it's important from a perspective to have those stories, but it's also it's important from a perspective to our soul to be looking forward to creating new stories too. And when
Yeah.
you're looking at your life, if you stop dreaming or you stop desiring to create new things, you're probably getting to that point where you're about to maybe kick the bucket.
That's morbid. Back
Yeah.
to your
Well, you wanted
eulogy.
to start there.
Back to your ouch. You
All
may
right.
not be kicking the bucket, but one thing's for sure, an active mind and an active body, things in motion stay in motion.
Yeah.
And I think the gift in crafting experiences worth retelling and that all stack up to one day being part of a eulogy is that they become rituals. And life is about rituals. And so take a deep breath and think about the rituals that matter and how aggressive and assertive are you in making sure that they don't fizzle out or die.
Yep. And so maybe give me some perspectives on maybe some things that are on your future. Like, how are you thinking about this conversation in your life? And I'll share mine.
Well, and I encourage, as the whole point of this Mojo Monday is that you're in the conversation, the listener, our friends, and that
Yeah.
I appreciate that we get to share, but ultimately I wish we could have everybody in one big, group mastermind because the collective has infinite potential. So as we talk, think about yours, think about where you've been, think about where you are, and think about where you're going. And so for me, I mean, this year Christmas is getting harder. And I think our peer group is probably not uncommon that you've kind of the stuff you have, you kind of have, everything in life seems to fall into one of four categories: know, have, do, and who. I'll repeat it. And maybe you write this down. In fact, do write this down. Know, have, do, and who. And then put out to the right of it, and maybe the concept of bucket list, all it is again an experience that's epic, memorable, and that you're proud of, and that the experience gives you joy. And inside of the paradigm of those four categories, what would the bucket list thing be for the next, duration? It's really hard to plan, 20 years out. It's a lot easier to plan 30 days, 60 days, or 12 months. And so the goal today is just to take a deep breath, make sure that the ritual you want 20 years from now starts at year one. And
Yeah.
so this year I was alluding that Christmas gets harder because not because, I mean, we have the resources to buy more stuff, but we already have stuff and no one talks about the stuff. I would be, gosh, this is almost painful to say out loud. If you ask me what I got last Christmas, I'm not sure I remember. I got stuff. I got more something.
Yeah.
But what I remember is that we had Christmas on Marco Island. Everyone flew down and we spent time putt golfing. We spent time at the beach. We spent time fishing. And I have pictures. I could create a highlight reel of that 6-day experience with my family and my kids. And that's what I remember. And
Yeah.
so as you're going through the bucket list opportunities in the know, have, do, who category, imagine what is worthy of retelling, what story is worthy of retelling, and what experience is documented in the form of videos and pictures that if it's exciting to go back and revisit it.
Yeah. What's funny in this story, Rick, is I remember what you got for Christmas last year. And it actually relates to this entire story because I'm pretty sure I played it in your spare bedroom when I visited you.
You did? You're going to have to tell me what
Your
it is.
pinball machine. It goes back to the
Oh, that
experience
is
you
what I
had
got.
that came forward.
So I will. So that's funny that you say that. I literally went blank for a minute when I was pondering the
It's okay.
future
This is a
instead of the,
real conversation, but
well, and it's a
yeah, I
common,
think it's relevant. Go.
it is relevant, but it was also a surprise that, it's a Rush pinball game. I'm a huge Rush fan. The music band, the rock band is legends of rock in my opinion, but my wife's not a Rush fan. And the fact that she went and surprise purchased this, it showed up on our door, Christmas Eve. And that was incredibly special. But here's what makes it special. We turn that sucker on, and it's part of the future experiences we current, again, it becomes part of the ritual and part of our who we are, what we are, and what we do.
But it
So
also
thank you for
ties
bringing that up.
it also ties back to the experience you just told us about the pinball machine
100%.
room. But
There
here
is connectivity.
let's bring this back for a second. So if you're listening to this, our challenge is we want you to be purposeful around. You have to be purposeful to create experience. Sometimes it naturally happens in our life, fortuitously maybe, yet you actually have to be purposeful about saying, hey, I probably have to sit down and make a list. And some of it's probably out of left field. Some of it's really passion that comes from within, that you're like, I have to do this. But if you don't at least start with a vision of what should be on that list, I might say that your bucket list might be empty.
Yeah. Well, and the better question is, where does that lead you? Isn't it all about a regret-free life?
Yeah, it is. Rick, I think the challenge as we're sitting here, uh, getting, throwing this challenge out there, is this kind of feels like a big conversation. Like it's a life conversation. So if you're listening to this, I just want to personally encourage you that this is a worthy conversation, and it's worthy of your time to reflect on, especially at any time of the year. It doesn't even have to be at the end of the year. We just might be recording this at the end of this year. But the point of it is, it's self work, but it's not self work, it's self vision.
Mm.
Rick, take us out.
So again, reflective of what we said, the easiest way I tackle a big opportunity is break it into bite-sized pieces. And so if you wrote know, have, do, and who on your piece of paper, and I hope you did, ponder what it is that you need to know this year that makes you a more empowered friend, servant leader, a force among your peers. What is it that you want to have? Maybe it is a selfish anything, but if it lends itself to your tribe benefiting or the people around you, I think it's more endearing and powerful, just like my pinball machine. I appreciate you reminding me.
Yeah.
Um, the do is where people tend to think bucket lists live. And yes, it's an activity and experience. And then who do you need to bring along? Think about that. Who haven't you spoken to in a while that you dearly love and appreciate, that just circumstantially has faded and from your daily experience, that if you include it in the next 12 months, life gets better. Life gets better. And so let's do like this. I had this idea this morning when I woke up, and what I'm learning as I grow older is that I honor my thoughts, and I honor, because I think there's energy that's beyond my scope and wisdom beyond my personal path and experience that shows up. And I want to honor it. And the thought today was, I need to walk through a meditation of sort. And so if you'll play along with me, everyone listening, take a deep breath. 3 deep breaths, in fact. 1, 2, 3. Feel the energy in your body. Feel that sense of purpose that, hey, you've come a long way. You weren't an accident, and you've made intentional decisions that created some really awesome things in life, past bucket lists, past experiences, the people, the places, the things, the knowledge, the experiences you've had. Give yourself credit. Just feel good for a minute. We spend a lot of time worrying about what we should be and not who we are. Just give yourself credit for who you are. You're awesome. In fact, say it. I am awesome. And not because you're flawless, but because you're in pursuit of better. Now, take a deep breath and imagine yourself 12 months from now, 13 months if it's, early December. But think about Christmas Day or New Year's Eve a year from now. You're sitting with people that matter. You're celebrating. You've got your favorite beverage, maybe a crackling fire, some soft music in the background that's very festive. and just feels good. And then you surprise everyone with a video collage or montage of images from a bucket list adventure and experience time together. You put the right kind of music over it, and it becomes a highlight reel for that year that you just experienced. How good will you feel knowing you curated and orchestrated that now, so that 12, 13 months from now, that's reality? Just revel in that feeling for a minute about accomplishing something that's so much more important in life. And that's a life worth living and experiences worth sharing and never letting go. Ooh, man.
Rick Hale, I appreciate you.
Man,
I
love
think
you,
our
brother.
listeners appreciate you. I appreciate our listeners for listening. And really, I just needed a segue from that to play our out song. So happy Mojo.
We love you guys. I hope that matters, man, because you matter.